It's not about motivation. Winners need discipline. Wake up and win today. Discipline comes from within.
Boxing King Media in association with the Riyadh season. Frank Smith out here in Riyadh. I'm trying to think, have I interviewed you before in Riyadh?
Yeah, once I think.
I can't remember. We've done these interviews all over the world, but nice to see you out here in Riyadh. I know you've flown in this morning. How are you? I see the bonnet's looking nice and sharp.
Nice and easy, keeps it easy. You know the score, don't you? I mean, yours is a bit cleaner than mine. Yeah, landed, got to bed at 5 a.m. Had about 5 coffees today, so feeling good.
Stuff. Just initially, just about the Riyadh season. Obviously, you guys have got a lot of experience in the whole events and the way things are run. How are you finding it now? This is it's like 5th or 6th show I think you guys have been involved in here.
Yeah, look, I love Saudi Arabia. I love Riyadh especially. Spent a lot of time here. Especially came here back in, was it 2019 now? Probably came about 15 or 20 times back and forwards. Spent a lot of time, and even in that time, you see how much has changed here in the last 4 or 5 years since then. It's an amazing place. Great to be here. The seller, His Excellency, are doing an amazing job, not just in sport but across a whole host of events. So it's great to see, and always enjoy coming back here.
Definitely, and we're back here again. We're here for Anthony Joshua versus. I feel like you want to take a sip. You want to take another sip? You don't. AJ and NGANNOU. It's a fact that nobody saw coming. A lot of people ridiculed it when Tyson fought NGANNOU, but we all got to see that the guy ain't easy. So, did you see him when he took his top off earlier on?
Very similar to us two, really. When I saw him, he's got a tremendous figure. He's a big lump, isn't he? But we saw that in the fight with Tyson Fury. He's the size of him, and it's 2 huge men going in there, and it's going to be a fun fight. I don't think it was what was originally anticipated maybe 6 months ago, but it's a massive fight, and you saw the performance he put in against Tyson Fury. We're in for something interesting on Friday night.
Yeah, he's quite a cold individual. Just even speaking to him, it just seems like he's like stone cold about everything. I did question something he said in that face-off. He questioned Anthony Joshua's resilience, saying he doesn't think he's got it the same as Tyson Fury. But I did say to him, but what about the Klitschko fight, the Dillon White fight, the Povetkin fight, the 2 Usyk fights? If anything, that was a statement of resilience. And he basically, I think he changed it to saying, well, I think he hasn't. I didn't say he hasn't.
I don't think, if anyone, you can't question, Anthony Joshua with the times he's been through, the ups, the downs, the wins, the losses, he's always come back. And I think you're seeing the best Anthony Joshua of a long time. Especially I think momentum's been key for that, staying active. This was his 4th fight in 11 months. But, he's been through very tough times, coming off the back of the back-to-back Usyk losses and building himself back up, coming off the back of the Andy Ruiz loss as well. And, in the ring, as you say there, tough fights as well. But look, that's what heavyweight boxing's all about. It's about the best fighting the best. And, you're not going to win them all, is the reality. And the best man will win on the night. But, I don't think you can question AJ's mental resilience. He's in a brilliant place. And, I think everyone's seen that.
From resilience we go to mental health, and I spoke to AJ earlier, and I kind of highlighted the fact that over the years, especially recently, people have questioned his mental state, saying he's mentally weak, all that kind of stuff. But I'm aware from speaking to people around him that when the Usyk fights came about, when he was mandatory, and even the rematch, he was strongly advised by people that he trusts not to take them fights. I don't know if he was one of them or not, if you can tell us, but he was told not to take them fights because there were easier routes out there to prolong your career, make more money, all that kind of stuff. But he chose to take that fight. He's
always picked to take the toughest fights, to go straight back in there. Look, even after the first Andy Ruiz fight, going straight back in there after the loss, the mental side of that, and then the 2 Usyk fights, could have vacated, could have had his other belts, but he wants to be the best in the sport. He wants to keep learning, keep developing and growing. So, there's not many people, I don't think, in sport who are overanalyzed more than Anthony Joshua. Any answer he gives, they want the fire back, and then his answers are too short, and then he talks to, he can't win. But that's the position he's built himself into, because that's the part of being the global star he is. Everyone's got an opinion on you. And I think, again, he's in a great place. And I think the momentum, activity, and the sort of trust and faith. I think, he's been talking about, I saw an interview where he said about Ben Davison as well, and that relationship there I think has been great as well for him. And you saw in that last performance as well, that sort of spite and fire, from round one. He went out there and he did a job, and I think you're going to continue to see that. So yeah, I can't imagine what it's like being Anthony Joshua. He's analysed on every single thing he does, whereas a lot of other people aren't, and questioned on everything. But the way he deals with it, he's been in this for a long time now. I'm not saying you get used to it. I don't think you'd ever get used to everyone having an opinion on you, everyone, putting things out there. But I think you build up a wall, I guess, and I think he's done that. And I think he's learned a lot over the years. And like I say, I'm sure it's not been easy, but it's good to see, because I've known him for 14 years now, 13 years, something like that. And there's been hard times, ups, downs, but he's always been a good person throughout. So yeah, it's interesting times in the career.
Just delving into that a bit further, do you think it's probably more like a British thing? We don't really celebrate people enough. He's kind of, like I said to him earlier, he used to be a bricklayer 14 years ago, which sounds bonkers. You hear about some of these journeymen when they fight, people are saying, "Are you fighting a bricklayer?" But Anthony Joshua was that bricklayer. He was out there grafting, I think for £150 a day, he said, and now I don't want to say how much he's earning, but he's earning a lot of money fighting Saudi. Within 14 years.
£150 a day 14 years ago was a lot of money, wasn't it? Still decent money now. Yeah, look, he's been on a tremendous journey. An unbelievable journey. And when the Olympics was 2012 now, that was 12 years ago. 3 years before that, he obviously had issues which were very public. And to see what he's done, and to remain on his feet as well, because he is a very humble, grounded person. He's just a nice bloke, and hasn't changed one bit. So that for me is the key out of it. You can have all the success in the world, but if you retain those values, then that for me is the key.
Well, just I forgot to ask you earlier. You emphasised that again about his upbringing. But were you one of the people that advised him not to take the Usyk fight? So, because I know a lot of people told him not to, saying there'd be easier routes that you can make safer money, because boxing is ultimately a business.
No, look, I think you're driven by him at the end of the day as to what he wants. He wants to be the best. He wants to keep learning and developing, and he doesn't want to shy away from challenges. He's shown that throughout his career. So, it's, again, people will have it's an opinion at the end of the day, because ultimately all that really counts is what he wants to do. And I don't think, look, it's hard to put things in his mind, because you're sort of then doubting, at that point. So, he's got a lot of good people around him, but yes, there would have been easier ways to keep going. But you wouldn't have had the story maybe we're in now. You wouldn't have had this place now. Maybe things would have been very different. Things could have been very different if he didn't lose against Andy Ruiz, for example. And it's all part of the path. And, it's been a great run of ups and downs, but it's given us some great nights, and we'll continue to do that.
Hopefully so. Is there any rematch clause in this? Because I heard Joseph Parker mention earlier that he's got a rematch clause with Zang. Should he win, he has to fight Zang again. Is there one in this?
No, but looking just at Friday night, but no.
And then just looking at the wider picture, last night, Matchroom got themselves a new world champion. Just a quick mention, I know you didn't make the journey to New York, but again, just further credit to Eddie here, and I know he gets a lot of flack for the way he comes across sometimes in interviews, but he's gone and backed his fighter in the States, and he's flying here today. Yeah,
look, I was with him on Friday in London. He wanted to be there. Ray Ford we've had since pro debut, I think 5 years now, and to get to that position he's in, it was a tough fight as well. No one wanted to fight Komatov. A real tough fight, and a brilliant fight as well. And Ray Ford went in there and he delivered. He's changed his life. He's worked his whole life to get to that point. And I'm so happy for him as well. And there's big fights to be made. There's some talk about, could there be Nick Ball's obviously fighting Ray Vargas. Could there be a big fight between the two of those on that Matchroom Queensbury show? But yeah, proud of what he done last night, and amazing to see, because he's our first US homegrown world champion. We've had a load in the UK and all over the place, but it was our first US homegrown world champion, and lots more to come. But great night for him.
Yep, well done to him. And just a quick mention, breaking news in the last hour or so, Dillon White, the reports say that he's been cleared by the Texas Boxing Commission. Initially, what is your understanding of that from what you know? And obviously you've got a lot of experience in that game at the moment.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know much about it. I know as much as you. I've seen that they've supplied the that news to Sky earlier. I think you've probably read part of the report you've read as well, so limited information really on it. But yeah, it'll be interesting, I'm sure, to see more detail around it, and I'm sure he'll be relieved that he's got that part of his career out the way. It's a frustrating period, I'm sure, but it'll be excited to get back in the ring.
Just from the fans who may not understand, because it's a Texas commission, would he be allowed to fight in the UK based on that judgment, or what is it same sort of case as Connor's?
It'll be up to the British Boxing Board. He would request a foreign boxer application to fight in the UK if he ever wanted to fight in the UK under their jurisdiction, and they'd then review it from there, and that would be for them to decide. But if he'd been cleared by the commission, I can't see why they wouldn't, because he's been cleared and he's had the investigation to go alongside it.
Last question, would Matchroom work with Dillon White?
Yeah, I think anything's possible. Anything's possible. He's we've had a long relationship with him. We promoted 15, 16 of his fights, something like that. It depends what he wants to do now as well. He's had another, how long has he had out of the ring? Another, well, yeah, it's hard, it's tough. He's got to build himself back up from there. I think he really needs a win, against a notable name, and then go from there. So it'd be interesting to see what decision he makes next. But I wouldn't say no to anything. Let's see.
Indeed, we will see. Frank Smith, appreciate your time. We'll have loads to talk about later in the week for the rest of the card, and yeah, pleasure.
Good to see you, mate.
I got a question for you. Where can discipline take you? Discipline points you toward your goals.